Next item is approval of electricity contracts.
Scott, this is a first read for them, correct?
Yeah.
They saw it on my CFO report, saying that I was getting quotes from different vendors, and these were the quotes that I received.
Right, but this is
From
the
the
first time
vendors.
they're seeing the quotes or the example of the contract, right?
Yes.
So this
So
is
those
a
were
first,
just
this is a
sample
first read.
Well, I guess technically it could be.
You feel there's urgency to lock the prices in, like right now, versus 2 weeks from now?
I mean, it's ultimately a board decision. I'm just going off of what I am receiving from these different vendors with the trends that are out there.
Well, I talked to Kevin and sent him and Gary some information.
Mhm.
I read those agreements and I believe what they're only locking in the first year based on, and then you go to the market price for gas, what they call the Henry Hub here, and in the winter, the price could spike to 10 times what it is on a daily basis. So I talked to a couple people that I know that have some expertise here, and we may want to consider going back to them and saying what we need to get a cap or a collar or something on the subsequent 2 years, because you're signing an agreement that locks the price in for 1 year. In fact, one of them, it's unclear whether it's even locking it for a whole year.
No, all these terms that I have on here
Right.
are locked in fixed rate for the amount. So it's either
But for what period?
either 1 year, 2 years, or 3.
Well,
And I know the contract on the one did show was only locked in for a
both
small period,
contracts say,
and then it would go to a variable. But
Both.
that's incorrect. They were just samples of the contract.
well, we got to be very careful. You got to get the contract that shows they're going to lock it in for 3 years if that's what they're going to do. I would read what they presented, that they're locking in the price at a lower rate for 1 year if you sign for a 3-year deal. But after the first year, based on the contract language they gave you, you would no longer get that rate. You would be based on the market rate. And you'd pay probably a significant greater amount than what you're paying now. So we definitely shouldn't take it as a sample, say, are you going to lock this in for 3 years at this rate? If you are, give us an agreement that says you're going to lock it in at that rate for 3 years. And see if that's what they come back with for you.
No, I understand. I did speak with the vendors today. All those rates are for 3 years locked in. Fixed.
Okay.
Okay, so then to get us then
I can get a
Get a sample
sample
agreement.
one with the 3-year locked in.
Okay.
My biggest concern was I wanted the board to see what the general terms and conditions were of their standard contract
Okay. Well,
with it.
their standard contract there should be significantly different language for locking in for 3 years than what they presented to you. So, I mean, some of it will be the same, but other parts will be completely different. So I think what you need to do, and maybe in this instance, if you're concerned about the price of electricity fluctuating that much, for a price, it shouldn't. If you're talking about a June price for a 3-year lock in
Yeah.
2 weeks.
There's going to be some movement in it,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's going to be significant enough to make a
So Scott, let me
significant.
stop you. And tonight, what were you looking for the board to approve? Because they don't have a contract to approve. And so are you asking for their go-ahead to get a contract?
My intentions was to get the approval from the board to move forward with trying to lock in the 3-year fixed, and then work with the vendor to actually take the terms that the board would approve, put that into a contract, and then obviously I would have to run that by district legal to make sure that they're in
You may need
agreement
more
with
than-
it.
You may need more than 2 weeks, or at least till the next meeting. I think what's confusing the board, and the reason I received a few questions from board members today, is the way this is written on the agenda. It says approval of electricity contract, and the contract that's in there is not even our contract. And then the contract doesn't, even though it was just a sample, I don't think it was clarified anywhere that it was only a sample. And so where the confusion is that it does not show locking in 3 years. So are you looking tonight from the verbal go-ahead from the board of this is a good idea if you can get 3 years fixed, and then go ahead and the direction from the board to like proceed now, get us a contract that says that?
Yes. That's what I would like to do is
Okay.
get a verbal, these are all fixed rates for 3 years. I understand that the one contract that's in there did say it was only locked for the one, and then it was variable for 2.
Okay, so
I wanted to get a standard contract into the board agenda to see if there was any issues within the general terms and conditions.
There
and
are,
then,
then we'll save you. These are not mutually exclusive events. In order for us as a board to have a feel for it, the rates have to be tied up with the language to know that that's really what they're presenting to us. So wasn't harmful to send out a proposed thing because they're going to tell you this terms are similar, but in my estimation, you need to go back to them and say, some of the board members are concerned this agreement is not an agreement for a 3-year fixed term. And they need to see that before we can agree to lock this in. Conceptually, it's a good idea, right?
Yes.
The only other thing you can compare it to is what the market price projected over 3 years for electricity is, and what ComEd projects their price over 3 years, because we could buy it directly from ComEd too, right?
Mhm.
So, and is the IEC the one we've been using?
We are currently with the IEC.
Okay, and that's the
that's a 1-year
consortium.
fixed rate, correct?
We were locked in for, I believe, only the fixed energy cost was locked in on the electricity. So then we were paying on the other variables. So
Okay.
it was a little different
Okay.
type of contract that we were involved versus the fixed.
So big picture, you're asking us to, the general terms of this contract, I think we're all in agreement, we really can't approve it because you haven't gotten a contract that you're not showing us a contract that's going to lock us in for 3 years. Second thing I'm asking is, what is the volume number that's being put in this contract? Is that based on the max amount we've had ever usage? Because I don't know where our natural gas usage has been for the past year, if it's been lower or higher, but isn't there a penalty in here that if you go over this locked amount, you're going to go at market rates? Did I read in there correctly?
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
So did we go look historically when the max amount we've ever used and said, this is the max, this is the number we want to use as the basis?
Well, it has, I have it, all the rates are in there with our annual usage, which is roughly 4 million kilowatt hours
For electricity.
for electricity.
And that's been an
12
average that we've been?
That's our average.
12,000
For how many years?
And then 12,000.
Okay, and there's no,
Yeah, it depends.
and there's
on
no
how-
anticipation of using any additional electricity with demands that we've put on lately with new things that we've added in the last year or two?
Or less, because we're trying to do
The
some.
thing is, we've done a lot of
energy
energy efficiency stuff with the lighting.
And then what's the issue if we go less than this max? Do we pay a penalty?
No.
So if we use less than the 4 million, there's no penalty. But if we go over, we're paying market rates.
Yeah, if
It's like a
that's how,
lease
if that's how
almost.
it's,
Well,
if that's how it's set up.
So there's no
In order,
penalty.
well, wait a second. In order to actually, you're going to have to make a monthly projection for them, right, throughout the term? Is that what you do now?
Well, what they've done is they've tracked our history
Yeah.
for the last 2 years on what our monthly volume is to come up with that
And they projected
average.
the month, the average,
Mhm.
but during
Per
the term,
monthly.
you project it on a monthly basis,
Mhm.
right? Because in air conditioning and electricity, you're going to use
It's a
more
lot higher.
warmer, and because of the heat, you're going to use more gas in the
Yep.
winter, right?
Exactly.
So we're not going to have a steady usage.
Nope.
And then to answer Gary's question, I think you might want to follow up is, so we aren't going to take the 4 million and divide it by 12, right? To come up with the monthly usage. There's going to be more.
It varies from,
It's a
like you
little bit
said,
different for a school.
per the seasons.
Yeah. But there is, once we set the amount, don't we have to take delivery or pay for a minimal amount?
I'll have to verify.
And then if we go check that, and if we go over, there's a collar on the maximum amount, then we have to pay the market rate if we go over that, probably. I think you should check with them when you go back and ask for the agreement, to have them explain in better detail. So you have
And we're not going to have any unusual demands with the switchover of the new unit in the swim room, are we?
No, that's a high efficiency. I think what we need to do is just, Scott, make sure you know our 3 to 5 year history of our usage. Maybe instead of 2, get a 3 to 5 year. And then I think the board, am I accurate to say the board's okay with Scott pursuing
Yeah.
Absolutely.
a
Yeah, we're
draft
actually
contract?
definitely.
and locking us in?
Absolutely.
Definitely,
It's
just,
a good idea.
yeah.
So a better way to maybe phrase this in the future would just say you're looking for approval for the board to pursue this, and and that this is only an example contract, because they can't really vote on anything that's not their contract and it's not our specific terms.
This is a little bit different than, say, last meeting, we voted on a contract, and there were 2 specific issues that we directed Kevin to go back and check with the attorneys and see if we wanted to make changes, but they weren't going to change the substantive business terms. It wasn't going to be like the price is going to be another penny a therm or something like that. It was more of do we need to clear this up a little, where in this instance, it's a little unclear what they're actually proposing to you based on it's what they provided you, but it's unclear in my way of thinking.
Scott, I think a good way to prepare this is just get our historical, have them work up a draft contract that says it's locked in, put together a draft of what you're projecting for the months, and then we can bring it to the board. Okay? And I would say we do the same for gas as well. Is the board okay with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Scott, I would just look at section, under buyer obligations.
Under electric or gas.
Page 96, number 7. Just read through that and understand what that means. There's something about, irregardless of reported volumes, there will be, regardless of buyer's actual consumption. So just read that and understand what that is. I'm trying to understand it, but make sure we're not locking ourselves into volumes that we're not going to even use. So, all right, let's move on. So we'll move on both the electric. So we hit both the electricity and natural gas.
Can I point out one other one? On paragraph 5 of the same page, Scott, I highlighted the second sentence talks about if we go over the monthly tolerance, and there's a different provision that says if we're under the monthly tolerance, and that's what Gary originally asked the question about.
All right.
And I will forward to the whole board the 2 articles Mr. Walsh sent on doing these types of contracts, so the whole board has access to them. I sent them to Scott earlier this afternoon, so he'll be able to read those as well.
All right, so we hit both D and E. That was approval electric contracts, approval natural gas contracts.